Alright. Back to business.
It's not the ether. It's the water.
I don't think we've talked to her yet. She has a cool thing on her arm. Let's go DoorDash.
Did you come through the forge today? It smells like a still.
Oh man.
And you say Sid built this place?
Listen, I did not fail at Guess the Game. I guessed every game. I guessed every single one. I don't know what you're talking about. Sure, a couple of them were questionable, but we got them in the end. Fabian.
You two look like you could use something to eat. Here, courtesy of Martel.
Martel. Now, where have I heard that name before?
Weren't she the girl from the Furrows?
Course she was. An odd sort, that one. Loved plants more than people.
Aye, and brave as a bane might. Remember when she ran back into the hideaway to collect them trees when Titan attacked? Wait.
These aren't those apples, are they? Well, I'll be. She'd have been proud, and rightly so. Thank you, Sid.
A gift from the backyard. For your service.
I was holding this apple in my back pocket. You're welcome.
Blimey, these take me back. I haven't seen a hideaway apple since. Old Sid was the only one who could stomach the things. He'd nab them right from the branch, made Martel livid. Not that anyone could stay mad at the man for long.
That sounds like the Sid I knew, all right.
Wasn't he eating an apple the first time we met him?
Were you? Hang on. These aren't Martels, are they? I'm glad to see someone carried on what she started. Can't have been easy, not in the Deadlands. Reckon she'd be happy knowing all her hard work didn't go to waste. Clive, tell the lad down in the backyard to run some over for me, will you?
Not so much as a thank you. Well, I've got some manners at least. Thanks, Sid. You can leave the basket with me. I'll see that the others get their share. Oh, and give our compliments to the gardener, won't you?
That was the last of the apples. I should head to the backyard and pass along everyone's regards.
I really like the look of the backyard.
That broom's as ragged as...
It's really pretty. They're still there with the doggo. How's it going, Rio? In Diablo? Hope you had a good weekend. Oh, by the way, I told you guys I would tell you today about tomorrow, because tomorrow is July 4th. I should be here normal time tomorrow. I think we're having a cookout, but we're gonna have it later. I might leave a little bit early just so I can get there without being late, but should be a normal stream tomorrow.
Cursebreakers sent their thanks. And their compliments. They were clearly very fond of Martel.
They remembered her? After all these years? I suppose she was very kind, even to a tongue-tied lummox like me. You were one of the good ones, Martel. Why did you have to die? She put everything into her work. She wasn't going to rest until we had fruit sweet enough to enjoy. And now we do. When she died, I named a sapling after her. And now it's a full-grown tree. Martel lives on through the fruit it bears.
And through you. Her dream would have died with her, had you not kept it alive. That's something to be proud of.
I didn't do anything really, but thank you. You're kinder to me than I deserve.
By the way, Otto's expecting some of your crop. And I wouldn't mind some of it either, if that's not too much to ask.
Of course not. I'll see that you're both well provided for. They like your fruit, Martel. Isn't that wonderful? I'd say it's about time we planted you some siblings, don't you think?
Pretty big amount of experience. Oh, I got a curiosity. Does not look like there's enough apples there for all of us. Isn't this area really cool? Like, I like how the water kind of flows through. And they have the different little crop areas. Just a really cool,
It's not the ether,
really cool area.
it's the water.
Yeah, I need to get the game done before I leave on vacation in 2 weeks.
How much water
So-
can a flower drink?
Need every hour we can get. Like I said, I think the kids might go to the parade in the morning, but the parade we went to for Memorial Day was terrible. Parades aren't what they used to be anymore.
What do you need?
I don't even know if they're going.
So, will it be?
Also, it's like raining today. It might rain tomorrow too. Not sure what the weather is. This is just, yeah, literally still nothing. I'm still very confused as to what what the point of this is. Yeah, they're definitely going downhill around here. In fact, the one we went to is more of just a political parade than anything. Unfortunately. Alright, let's get this done so I can go do my hunts. How's it going, Ataru? Yeah, I'd go to an Ataru parade.
Do you think it was wise to leave, Gav? He didn't seem pleased.
I needed his eyes and nose in Dhalmekia. I'm not about to let Kupka take us unawares. Besides, he has a knack for that sort of thing.
That he does.
And wasn't it Sid who said that matters such as these are best left to dominance? Especially should one of his beloved opportunities to grow and change present itself.
I always knew that I would return one day. Return to Ironhome.
For what?
After learning the truth, you were given the chance to face your past. If I am to continue at your side, I must do the same.
We will face it together then.
To the end.
Come on.
I tell you what, the camera work is so good in this game, and it really goes to show how much time and effort they put into the visuals. You know, as much as I keep saying, like, they obviously spent all the time on the story and the combat and like nothing else. Really does shine through in moments like that. So like literally that was just her saying, I need to go face my past now. But the camera work made it so much more epic. In any other game, it would have just been like, all right, it's my time to go, and it'd just be like them walking in. But the constant like shift from one to the other, and then like the slow zoom in, and then Clive turning around, and like just they make every moment so much more emotional and epic with the camera work. It feels, you know, I know we keep bringing this up, but it really does feel like a Netflix show at times, you know, with like the camera work. And I think back to like the scenes with, you know, the king or the Archduke and the queen, and, you know, some of the other Benedicta and the emperor. I mean, you take that out of context, it looks like a animated Netflix show, you know?
Stens, will we find the same tragedy in the south as we did at Martha's Rest?
More than likely. Which is why we should hurry. There are still many settlements between here and Port Isolde. We visit as many as we can and hear their stories. Starting with the village of Amber.
Pretty epic view here. Level 24 bees. Ramu. Oh, now we got Chocobo music. Or not. Just a little...
Fly, Ambrosia.
Where's my goofy Chocobo music?
Mockery of justice is what it is. Lord Elwyn would never have stood for this.
Quiet, you! Thought they were loyalists.
Jill, look.
Birds. Oh.
Rosaria must be cleansed of the stain which befouls her, that she might rise once again from the ashes to welcome a new dawn. 'Twould be a pity to make examples of you all, for the transgressions of but a handful.
Of course, your lordship. You shall have our full cooperation.
What business could the Black Shields have in a village this small? There's barely room to hide a bearer.
Then they must be here for something else.
That guy's armor was cool.
You fancy
I wish
the gallows jig like the miller's son?
Oh, great. I'm sure there's going to be some real good stuff to buy from this merchant, like a sword I used 10 hours ago. Increases limit break generation amount when taking damage. Oh boy. Night terrors.
Keep to the roads now.
I wish I was afraid of the soldiers more. Like, I wish they were more of a... more daunting of an enemy, you know? Like, when I saw them, I was like, oh no, they're here. But every soldier we fought has just gotten completely annihilated. So I don't really fear them. Like, I see them and I'm like, oh man, I feel bad for the villagers. But I don't necessarily, like, fear them. Because I'm just, like, so much stronger than them. So it doesn't have as much of the intended effect.
Excuse me, but what was all that about earlier?
You haven't heard? Someone's been stirring up trouble. There have been attacks on the garrison, supplies stolen. They even say a Black Shield was murdered. The Empire wants answers, and what the Empire wants, Empire gets.
It was Ambrosia.
Don't they just?
She did it.
Keep your ears open, eh? The Black Shields will pay good coin for information on the culprits. You'd have to be dull as a sack of stones to think you could take on the Empire. What with their 100-full legions? We're going hunting for outlaws.
Doggos.
How do you like that, boy?
You seen him, didn't you? I'm sorry. The Black Shields. Just now. You seen them, didn't you? At least I think there was a Black Shields. Can't say I ever saw one before. Was this the first time they visited the village? Well, what do you think? Amber's the arse end of nowhere. And they thought we might be harboring firebrands. If only we were. I might have turned them in and become a Black Shield myself.
You don't think these firebrands the Empire is looking for could be us, do you?
I don't know. But we need to find out.
Nah. Doesn't sound like us.
Greetings, friend. We are travelers.
I know that. What do you want?
We couldn't help noticing those Imperial soldiers who were here earlier.
Don't you go telling these strangers a thing. I speak for the people of this village, and we have nothing more to say to you.
Seems like everyone else was nice.
Amber and never come back.
May I at least ask why?
I don't know who you are or what brings you here, but your presence puts us all in grave danger. The Empire is a harsh master. Its demands are great, and its justice swift. But as long as we keep our heads down and pay our tributes, we are left alone. Some might call it submission. But if it will spare my people the Viceroy's wrath, then I will gladly submit. This village will not become another East Pole.
Then we shall be on our way.
I was gonna say, I mean, fair. But I don't think you speak for the village.
These people live with a knife to their throats. In the mistaken belief that if they cooperate, my mother will show them mercy.
Obedience bought with fear.
Are you all right?
Sorry, It's nothing. We still don't know who the Black Shields are looking for.
Well, whoever they are, the Imperials deem them worth pursuing to the back of beyond. But other than Martha, who else in Rosari would have the courage to stand against the Empire? A new ally would certainly be welcome. Can we find them before the Imperials do? Perhaps the next village will yield more answers.
Perhaps.
Jill knows a little bit about being forced into fear. Just a little bit. Wonder if there's anything over here. I'd check, but I feel like there won't be, because there never is. There could be like a hunt, but from the two that were on the board, neither one of them would have been here. Actually, No, that hunt was over here. Broken Hill. I can actually travel over there and fight it right now, because it'll allow me to teleport. I might as well keep going for now. I doubt the hunts are like ever disappear, so. Why is it always the Empire that's the bad guys? Star Wars. I mean that as a joke, but also not. Like, I actually think
take us through the mountains.
I actually think Star Wars
directly into
was
the
a big
path of
reason.
Whoever or whatever lurks here.
I think Star Wars was probably a big reason that the word Empire is used as like a villain term.
Ever since the apology, we've seen more and more of these echoes.
What do you think is waking them? The mother crystals collapse?
I have an idea. You're not going to like it.
Farewell.
It's a bit hard to describe what this game is, to be honest. It's a bit of a hybrid between semi-open world and mission-based combat. It's like Final Fantasy XII with a replay mission mechanic. That's kind of how I feel. That it's like open zone. It's Final Fantasy XII with a replay mission mechanic. That's which I think is pretty nice. I prefer this over Final Fantasy XV's open world because it feels like, and you know, I'll talk more about 15 when we play it, but 15 felt like it was open world for the sake of being open world, but there was nothing to do in it, you know. They just wanted to make an open world game, so it was technically open world, but everything was a mission anyways. Like, you know, just I prefer some level design as opposed to just a giant open field that's like, hey look guys, it's open world. Like, the reason that Grand Theft Auto works so well as an open world game is because every single street there's something to do, you know, there's like, it's a city. Just because it's a giant open field and it's open world doesn't mean it's as good as Grand Theft Auto, you know. I think a lot of people went into 15 and they were like, oh man, it's going to be the Grand Theft Auto of Final Fantasy games. But it's like, no, it's just an open field. Like, it's, you know, it's open world technically, but it doesn't have anything that makes an open world game fun.
More of my mother's men.
Hello. Goodbye. So, you know, I much prefer some level design and thought put into the areas instead of just being like, look at how big it is. I mean, Final Fantasy 15 was a ton of show, but all talk, no bite kind of thing. Like, it's really big and there's cup noodle sponsorships and you can drive a car, but like none of it amounts to anything. Although it's technically bigger, there's much more to do here. people to talk to, cities to visit. So, me personally, I prefer a smaller world that has some actual level design thought put into it. You might disagree. You might just see an open world and be like, this is awesome, and that's fine. But for me, having like the level design aspect is much better. You can actually put some thought into what's going on. What this thing is. Ow, 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 yeah, I mean, there's some open world games that do have that in mind, like Fallout or Skyrim. Like, yeah, it's an open world, but there's so much thought put into where stuff is put and what you're going to run into when, and the characters that travel the world, and like none of that exists in 15. And I think if this game had been an open world, they wouldn't have been able to do any of that either. It would have been a vast expanse of bomb encounters. Yeah, what this? I'm guessing it's just a chest. It is indeed a chest. But it had something in it. Wait, his attacks got upgraded. Nice. Increases lunge damage. 5%. Oh boy. I think I'll pass on that. But yeah, you know, in terms of like Final Fantasy, I just don't think open world really fits it well. I think this is closer to like an OG Final Fantasy game where there's like a world map and you visit different areas, you know? It's certainly not the same as PS1 Final Fantasy games with like a world map, but it's closer to that feeling. You know, sure, we're not walking to each area, but other than that, you travel to each area and walk around, you know, it's similar. You're never going to get that same, like, PS1 feel of walking around a map with random encounters and buildings that look way too small, and you walk in and then it's a giant city. Like, you're never going to get that feeling again. But in terms of trying to recreate that feeling, I feel like this is as close as you get. Having an actual open world doesn't really feel Final Fantasy-ish to me, to be honest. Feels like they're trying to be something they're not. I think this works a lot better. This kind of Final Fantasy XII style, I think, just fits way better. And it's better than like Final Fantasy X, which is just a list, you know. Basically, you can't go anywhere until near the end of the game, and then it's just a list of locations. Like, I think this is closer to OG Final Fantasy than Final Fantasy X in terms of the world design. I think most would agree. So, I don't have any issues with it. I think it's really nice. Yeah, I don't think Final Fantasy needs to be an open world game. We have plenty of amazing ones. I think this kind of open field, I kind of like that term, like open field mixed with being able to replay story elements is like perfect. Yeah, Ni no Kuni actually did it pretty well, but it wouldn't fit the realism that Final Fantasy goes for nowadays. It worked with Ni no Kuni because it's anime. It's Studio Ghibli, the game. So, like, an oversized character walking around a world map fits perfectly. But imagine, like, imagine this game, just suddenly you're, like, a chibi version of Clive running around a world map. Like, imagine this, but, like, chibi Clive is just, like, running around. And then you, like, walk up the towns and interact with them. Like, it just would not fit. Would not fit very well at all. But it's funny, because some people really want that. Some people really want just to be able to say it's like the old games. They want something like that. Somehow I feel like it's one of those things where you want it until you get it, and then you're like, yeah, this is dumb. You know? I think with Rebirth it would actually fit better, since the remake kind of has a lot of humor and like anime moments. I don't think it would be awful to have like a even if it was just something like this, like not like OG Final Fantasy VII where it's like a big map and you're like 3D, but like a 2D map where like Cloud and Barrett and Aerith and Tifa are like running around the map, and that's how you pick where to go next, or like that's how you pick your next chapter or whatever. Like, I don't think it would necessarily be awful, but I also don't think it would please those who want it. I think the people that say they want it, they'd get it and then be like, yeah, this is dumb, to be honest. And I think I truly think, and you know, I was one of those people that said, back when the remake was first announced, I was one of those people that were like, it better have a world map. Like, honest, I was. But the more I saw what the remake was becoming, the more I realized that a world map wouldn't really fit. And I think now, the people that are asking for a world map in Rebirth are the people that aren't going to buy it. That's what I honestly think. I think the people that are like, it better have a world map, are also the people that are going to watch streamers play it and not buy it. That's what I honestly think. From the people that I've seen comment on remake videos and like my upload of the trailer and stuff, it seems like people that are still holding out for like an actual literal chibi Cloud running around a 3D world map are the same people that like hated the remake and aren't actually supporting it. I think the people that are going to be actually playing Rebirth are the people that understand Square's vision. And if there is some kind of like open world aspect to it, they'll be happy, but they're not going to like pigeonhole it into it has to be this or else I'm not buying it kind of thing, you know? So that's just kind of the feeling I get. People that are still trying to pigeonhole every Square Enix game into what they want are the same people that haven't bought a Square Enix game in a while. Which is fine, like, you know, it's just not your thing anymore. They've moved on.
Blood, Clive.
Yes, there's blood everywhere. Have you seen this world?
You were told to stay in your homes.
The Black Shields.
You know who we are. And still, you would bear your steel. Why then? We owe you our thanks. You have saved us the trouble of an interrogation. To dwell in darkness, that we may purge the night and welcome lasting doors. On these, our swords we swear.
Nice speech.
Say that again. I'll show you a true shield, Rosaria. To me, Flames!
These guys have some health. Guy hit me during my ability.
Enough.
It is kind of meh, honestly. I haven't upgraded it, but it's kind of nice when enemies are far away and you can't gap close yet, but you have so many gap closers that I'm kind of just using it because it's there.
What I want in the end will be swift. Who are you looking for?
Why, you. We come bearing a message. Your friends have been found. The branded you freed from our camps. They await you in Ordeal. Guardians of the Flame.
Those are Old Hill's gates.
Then we hurry.
Yeah, it's kind of too slow. Everything else is so fast, and Ramuh kind of slows everything down. Probably gonna have to use it in arcade mode for points, though. But in regular fights, it just feels too slow to be worth. But sometimes when I knock enemies away, it's nice to hit them on their way out, you know? Or just hit a big group of enemies before I engage.
Find something, boy. Death.
You smell death. You smell me.
Oh, found her.
This was my mother's doing.
But why? Why would anyone?
I don't know. I never truly understood her. But this...
Oh, Clive.
I will learn what madness drives her, and I will end it. We should go.
Yes.
Yes.
We can't leave them here like this.
We won't. But if the Black Shields have made it this far south, they may already be in Port Isolde.
You know, in Square Enix's defense, they can't keep making games for their old fans forever. And that's something I've kind of realized, like, You have the old guard that are like, if it's not a turn-based game, I'm not playing it. And Square Enix is a company. They have to, like, keep making new games. They can't just continually make every final, you know. They can't make Final Fantasy VII Rebirth for those people because they're few and far between. Most of the people that play their games are people that want new games, so... As much as the people that are complaining about this game being an action game, as much as their complaints are valid, Square Enix can't make games for those people anymore, you know? And that's just kind of the fact of it. Like, they can't make... They can't make games for my generation forever. Most of the people in my generation are playing games less or not at all. They're making games for the people, the new generation that are, you know... I mean, it's just... they're just a business. I mean, that's just what's happening, you know? I think a lot of us are selfish and want Square Enix to make the exact game we want and nothing else will suffice, but, like... Look at the industry. They can't make a turn-based game with a world map and chibi models. It's not gonna sell like this game sells, you know? So, but like, I say that because I understand the argument. I really do. And when I get a comment that's like, Square Enix has abandoned me, all they do is make action Fortnite games now. Like, I get it. 100% I get it. And you have a reason to be mad. But at the same time, I'm not gonna, like, put up my pitchfork and get mad at Square, you know? Because they're just doing what they need to do to be a business. So, I agree, but also I understand why we're getting games like this and we're getting games like Rebirth.
Though I doubt the Empire would let us cross.
And I also accept the fact that these are still very good games. And the remake in particular is incredible. Like, the amount that they were able to make a game that works for today's industry, but also a love letter to those who played the original is remarkable. Like, truly. It is remarkable how they were able to make a game that fits in today's industry, that's sold like hotcakes, that doesn't feel dated, but then also is a love letter to those that were like, we hate you, Square Enix, for making games that aren't turn-based. That, you know, screw you, Square Enix, and then they make this game that, like, perfectly picks up those people, and it's like, listen, this game was made for you. Even though it's not exactly what you wanted, it was made for you, you know? That is impressive. Because I expected, at one point, I expected the remake to be basically just spitting in the face of Final Fantasy VII fans. You know, I expected it to be like, this is Final Fantasy VII, but for new fans, and screw the old fans. You know? So the fact that it wasn't that really impressed me. Now, is this game picking up the old Final Fantasy fans and saying, listen, we know this isn't a game for you, but hopefully you can still appreciate it as a Final Fantasy fan? Or is this game spitting in the face of Final Fantasy fans? And for me, I don't really know yet, but I feel like story-wise, it definitely is picking up the old fans and saying, here's this story that feels like a Final Fantasy story. My only real complaint is the RPG elements and how restricted they feel. That feels like a bit of a spit in the face of Final Fantasy fans. But I don't think that was on purpose. I think that was just, it feels like they didn't really put the RPG elements on a high they didn't put a lot of time into those elements. They focused more on making it, yeah, priority. Like, they they focused way more on the story and the combat than they did those elements, which definitely hurts its appeal to old Final Fantasy fans. But other than that, I'm definitely not at the point yet where I'm like, wow, Final Fantasy fans are going to hate this kind of thing. Also, Twiggy, thank you for the tier 3 64 months, by the way, man. Thank you so much. The tier 3 support helps so much. So, like, seriously, man, thank you so much. Yeah. Yeah, that's Aaron's new thing that gets put in the chat when he joins. Don't ask. I just did what I was told. That's his greeting. I didn't ask any questions. Probably should have. Asked a couple questions. Also, how's it going, Mushroom? Hold on, I want to catch up on chat real quick. If you're moving on from classic fans, why remake 7 if it's not going to be for them? That's what I, you know, got into, is that it really was for the old fans, just not, you know. Listen, it picked up the old fans and said, we can make a game for the modern industry that you guys are still going to be able to appreciate, you know. I think that the current video game audience, I don't know, it's a mixture of kids that just want dopamine hits and young adults that want full experiences. The more I've read into the general audience, which my view is a bit biased because a lot of the people I talk to and a lot of the comments that I read and stuff are my community, which tends to be the RPG community or the FPS community. But from my semi-biased look on it, it feels like people just want full games. Like that's kind of where I feel like people are at. Like a lot of people just want, and me included, just want games that we can buy for a price and play through the entire thing and feel like we got our money's worth. That's like half the battle right now. And whenever a game comes out that is blatantly not worth the money, it gets super memed on. And that's part of the reason why I think that's the case. Because when something comes out that isn't worth the money, it gets destroyed. You know, not in a way that's like, oh, it's unsuccessful, but like publicly humiliated. Stuff like Balan Wonderworld, stuff like the Gollum game. Like, it's to the point now where it's not just a failure, it is publicly put on a podium, and that company is ridiculed for making that game, you know? So when you look at that, it makes you realize how much the industry desires full experiences, desires games that just feel like they're worth our money. I think a lot of it is an economy thing. The fact that the economy kind of sucks right now, the fact that games are going up in price, more and more people have this desire to just feel like their money went somewhere, you know? And obviously that's not all that goes into a game, but I do feel like that's a big part of it. What people really want to see in the industry. And when a game comes out like the remake, and there's a lot of people that dislike it because of the ending, or they dislike it because it's a remake of a game but it doesn't feel enough like the original, whatever their reason is for disliking it, usually they will still say stuff to me like, I do agree it's a good game. I do agree that it was worth the money. I do agree that it was a success. You know what I mean? So even if they disliked it, they could admit that it was a success if they feel like it was a full game that was worth the money. So I really do think like that is one of the biggest catalysts right now that people are looking for when it comes to a new game. Like, is it worth me putting the time and effort and money into? Is that all that there is? No, of course not. But I do think that's a big part of it. That's a big thing that people are looking for right now. And that's one of the things that Square Enix is doing the best. You know, at least with its big titles, Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy, they are making full experiences that feel like they're worth the money. Now, their side projects, you know, some of the stuff they publish, like Balan and Chocobo GP, not so much. But at least they're big projects. They tend to be getting that part right.
They tell us there's a curfew, but then refuse us passage back to our homes.
Yikes.
They're all Rosarian.
But this is their home.
I'm hungry.
Where does... Cute bird. Let me pet bird.
You find no succor to the South Travellers, nor beyond the Buet. The Empire has seen fit to banish us from our own land.
I wasn't looking to play any soccer. So we're all good. Oh yeah, I do feel like this game was kind of needed for the PS5. You guys agree? The biggest complaint I've heard about the PS5 is its lack of games over the past year. That's always what comes up. It's always PS5 has no games. The PS5 definitely needs more, and not games that are also on PS4 like Forbidden West. It needs some like true, this is a PS5 game, this is a reason to buy a PS5. And we talked last week about the rumors of a PS6 and a PS5 Pro, and that's one of the biggest issues that I think is the reason why that's a bad idea, because so many people aren't buying PS5s because there's no reason to. Imagine trying to sell them on a PS6 or a PS5 Pro. That was brutal. But we're getting there. There's a lot of games coming out this year. A lot of stuff in the pipeline. Was I don't actually know. Was the Resident Evil 4 remake, was that on PS4? I don't remember. Resident Evil 4 remake. It was. And it's obviously on PC too, which makes a big difference. But even if that was only on PS5 and not on PS4, that would have been helpful to Sony fans. Not much help to anyone else because they'll just buy it on PC, but if you're strictly a Sony fan that owns a PS4, if Resident Evil 4 was only on PS5, that probably would have made a bit of a difference.
To me!
I talked about this a bit, I think maybe last week, I forget, but have you guys seen the new Disney kart racer game? Oh my god. Listen. How are games like this still created? That's what I want to know. With the way the internet is right now, with basically just completely memeing on any game that has like bad microtransaction tendencies.
What happened to this place?
My mother happened.
You would think that developers would look at that and be like, okay, let's not make a game like that because everyone's gonna hate it. But somehow some guy comes in and he's just like, listen, if we do it like this, we'll make $10 extra, and they're like, we're in. You know, I just can't believe it. It's unbelievable. If you haven't seen this game, you gotta try it. I think there's a free demo. I played a free demo. I don't know if it's still out or if that was like a beta test or something, but if you can get the free demo of the new kart racer, you gotta try it. It's unbelievable. It's like no game you've ever played. It's like, and it's Disney. It's not its own little thing. It's a company that is trying to get in the good graces of gamers, you know? Like they just had the they have the Dreamlight Valley game out right now. So they're trying to like establish a good relationship with the video game industry so that they can sell stuff through Dreamlight Valley. And then they're just like, let's make this kart racer game that has legitimately every microtransaction, battle pass, alternate currency, low, you know, greasy, grimy monetization mechanic in it, and sell it to kids. And just let that hit the store, and just let that, you know, just let that out into the world.
The nobles who lived here didn't stand a chance.
It's just wild.
Let's hope my uncle fared better.
Is it pay to win? It's pay to anything. It's a $30 game that has like 9 different currencies, and you start with only one cart. And it's like, technically, I think you can get most everything other than skins without grinding, but it's like such a grind that you basically have to pay to get anything. And paying to get stuff would make you better, so yeah, I guess it's pay to win. I don't know who the heck would play that online, but...
That's the main gate. And it looks like we're not the only ones hoping to get in.
It's something, man.
Let us pass! My children are starving!
Have mercy!
Voice-rinsed dogs they are! You can't ignore us forever! Let us in or we'll die on your doorstep!
Better out there than in here!
I don't think they mind if you die on their doorstep.
Those crystals belong to us all!
I said, where were you, filth?
Back to your stalls!
Cut you down where you stand!
Destroy it!
No chance of slipping through unnoticed. We'll need to find another way in.